We are excited about the elaboration room.
I am excited about this.
Welcome to the Elaboration Room with Reverend Yo and Reverend Harris.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us once again, in the Elaboration Room with two sisters of one. As you can see, we have our special guest today on this Father's Day. We are honoring fathers. Today, we will hear from them of what it means to be a new father. So if you watched our Mother's Day episode, the two ladies that joined us for Mother's Day, these are their husbands. So Trayvon is the husband of Renita, and Ian is the husband of Melanie, right?
Yes.
Yes, Melanie, yes. So these are their husbands. So the mothers came as what it means to be a new mom, and the fathers are coming to give us something of what it means to be a new dad. So we pray that you tune into the entire episode, because today, once again, we are giving you something else to consider. So my special guest that I invited today is Trayvon Martin. I worked with Trayvon. We worked together in the school systems. We'll just leave it at that. Uh, we worked together for years doing public education. We worked in two different departments, but we also have fun in everything that we do. Trayvon is a new mom. I mean, a new dad to the new mom that we have for Mother's Day. So I am very interested on what it feels like to be a new dad in this time. So Trayvon will be joining us, and then I will turn it over to Theresa, and she can tell you about Ian. Now,
Yes,
each
we have.
gentleman may tell you something about them and what they do, but we'll leave that to them to explain all that. So, sis, it's you.
Yes, we have Ian who's returning to us. First of all, happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Happy Father's Day as we celebrate you. We should be celebrating you all year long, but this is the time when Hallmark has set aside for us to
Yes.
wish you a happy Father's Day. So, yes, we have Ian Lawrence. He was with us last year for Father's Day as he was looking forward to the journey. And now he is back. Ian works in the education field. And he is also an aspiring actor. And I just want to give a shameless plug because he is my son also. He is You can catch him on YouTube in a series called Onyx. It's the second season, and that's the season that he is in. Give it a watch and like and subscribe. What a shameless commercial. Anyway, so
Yes, because I said let them
but he can
detail what
say it
they
again.
want to
He can say it
detail.
again to drive it in, drive it in. So as a proud mom, I just sit there grinning. So yeah, okay. So let's get started. Go ahead, sis.
All right, so I'm going to ask the first question just to kick us off, but this will probably be the only question that I ask. Mainly, it's going to be you explaining what fatherhood means to you at this time. So I'm going to start with Trayvon. And so the first question, and it's both of you answer, and then basically it's a feed from there. If you don't have nothing, then I'll throw out another question. So, how did it feel the moment you first held your child?
Yeah, for me, it felt surreal the first moment I held her. So yeah, I'm a girl dad, proud to be a girl dad. I don't have my girl dad hat on right now, but I walk around with it on all the time. Um, yeah, it felt very surreal. Just a little bit of backstory, like my wife and I have been married for 7 years as of next month. We've been trying to have a baby and it just wasn't working out. And we just said like, hey, let's just do this adoption route. And we had waited for a little bit over a year to be matched. We were matched once before with a sibling set, and we're super excited about welcoming a boy and a girl into our family. That didn't happen. We got unmatched, and so when this happened, it was like very quick. We got her at 5 days old, and I wasn't expecting her to be so tiny.
Mm,
I was almost scared to hold her. because she was so small and so fragile. But I took her into my arms and I haven't stopped putting her down ever since. I have a friend of mine who her husband um is a girl dad and they just had their second and she's like 2 months old maybe as of now, and their first child is 4 years old, and he said like I pick her up at every chance I can get because I don't like there's going to be a point in time where I can't carry her anymore. And so I feel the same way about my daughter. Like I like to pick her up and hold her as much as possible. Because at one point, I'm not gonna be that guy in her life, that person that's picking her up,
Oh,
that's
wow.
protecting her and doing all the things for her. And so I want to be able to do that as much as possible while she's young and as she gets older as well.
Um, how did it feel? It was nothing short of a miracle. It was also very surreal. um, it was a scary time. I know she kind of shared a little bit about this, but it was an emergency C-section that happened 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So just sitting there with her. Well, before that, they took her in a room, and I was separated from her, just pacing back and forth with gowns on and scrubs on my shoes, and just waiting, just anticipating getting in there just to be there for her. Um, During that whole process, long story short, it was just scary, just having her lay there next to me, looking at me, asking me, "Well, like, what is happening?" Because she doesn't know they're covering everything up, and all she feels is just being tugged at. Um, but after everything happened, and they gave me my son. Oh man, it's unexplainable. It's nothing. It's nothing short of just seeing how magical giving birth is, and having creating new life, and just having that in the palm of your hands. And since then, we've been locked in. The same thing with you, man. He's already he is 10 months now, and he's already pushing me. Like sometimes he loves being carried, but when he's ready to go and run around, he's trying to jump out of my arms. And it's like, I remember when you were just laying here and just being, okay with that, but now you're already ready to run around, and I'm already scared when he's going to say, "Dad, let go of my hand." So yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Y'all
It,
get us
it,
a little teary-eyed
Now,
here.
don't do that. Don't do that because I was over here going, okay, okay.
Wow. And
yeah.
and they do. They do. The older they get, they do.
Yeah,
They do.
no,
Yeah. Our part, like having a baby and a newborn and just watching them grow. Like
mhm,
my daughter is 6 months old now, and just looking back at pictures of how like small she was and like how needy she was. I mean, she's
mhm,
still needy, but she loves to look around. She
yeah,
loves to be with other people. Uh,
mhm,
and it's like, that day is gonna come, and I know it's gonna come, and people keep telling me like, enjoy the moment, like really
Yeah.
rock
yes,
and really be there
yes,
as much as you can. And
yeah,
I work from home 70% of the year, but I travel like 30 to 40% of the year. And so those times where I'm gone, it's like really, really hard and really difficult. Like I was gone this past week for 4 weeks, for 4 days. And one of the days I wanted to drive back down just because I wanted to tuck her in at night. Um,
mhm,
because those moments are far and few in between if you really think about the lifetime of
mhm,
a human, right? Like
mhm,
you only have so many days and so many nights you can
yeah,
tuck in and hit someone on
very
the head.
minute, yeah. I work out. I leave the house early in the morning, and I come back 4:30. So around that time, he's usually trying to get put back down for a second nap. So I when I get home, I try to, hop into the fold, hop into the front line and just take over. So, doing dinner, being able to put them down to sleep, for the night. I'm trying to relish in those moments because it's like you said, it's very minuscule when you just think about the whole lifespan of, a human being. But yeah, it's hard, leaving a house and then coming back and he already learned a new skill, and I'm just missing that, or I come home and he's already, walking towards me, and it's new, and it's a feeling that it's hard to try to, you deal with, missing those moments. So yeah.
So for what have each of you, and either one of you can start, really, what have your what is a favorite thing about your baby's personality that you've noticed that just really gives you that smile like in smiling now, or just gives you that he or she done it again? What
Hmm.
is that personality so far?
I would
He
say
has a sense of humor. Go ahead, go ahead.
no, you go ahead, start.
He has a sense of humor already. So anything that he's laughing at, or if I can make him laugh for the simplest things, that always brings joy because I know I'm goofy, and my fiance is goofy, so I know he's going to be, a goofball as well. So just, being able to, share a laugh and having him laugh like from the belly, it's I love those moments. I really do. Also, he is very clever. He's very clever. We have a gate uh, a gate set up, basically, a little area where he is supposed to play, and he knows that he can put a toy, or what he will try to do is throw a toy over to the other side of the gate and act like, oh, I gotta go get it now. It's on the other side. I gotta try to slide through or climb over to get it. And so we just watch him like, no, you did that on purpose, but no, we'll get the toy for you. So yeah.
Smart little cookie.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah, for my daughter, I think her personality as well is like coming through. She's like, so I'm a people person. I work in education and public relations and engagement. And my wife is a educator as well, and she's not as much as a people person as I am. And so our daughter is very much a people person. Like she likes to watch people. She'll watch people all day long. She likes to smile at people and like babble at them. And then just to see like the joy that she brings to other people's lives as well, because she's added so much joy to our family and our lives. It's just one of the things I love about her.
Mhm.
I'm like, girl, stranger danger. Like, not every person you look at or smiles at you is like has the best intentions for you. But she's a baby and she just
Mhm.
loves people and she just loves smiling and everything she's overcome in her short 6 months of life. For her to just always be smiley and happy is something that's commendable. People always tell me, like, how do you smile so much? I'm like, I don't know. It's just my personality, I guess. And to see that happen for her is awesome as well.
That's amazing. You know, I am not a people person. I can be a people person when the check is good, but anything else, I like being to myself. Uh, so we just went to the park last weekend, and he's walking around, in the grass, and he walked up to this old lady, and the old lady picked him up and kissed him. And I'm like,
What?
smiling. Yeah, you know, I'm smiling because it's like, oh, look at him and everything. But internally, I'm like, no,
No.
no. But because it's just, he is his own person. Even though he's still a baby, he has his own personality. So I can see him, even when we're out in public, he's smiling, he's kind of flirting with everybody, being bashful with the little, he hides a smile, but he just laughs and stares at people. And I am not that type of person. So I just, I got to let him, grow up to be who he is, to be, if he's an extrovert, let him be that, let him have the space to just be who he is, because I can't put my own personality on him, of me being closed off and this, cautious of everything. So yeah, it's very interesting to see their personalities come out.
I'm like you, Trayvon. Stranger danger. Stranger.
Stranger danger. I feel the same. Stranger danger, but he's.
I'm surprised that she would even pick him up and do that.
It was it was like a grandmother type, and he was yeah, I know. But then he walked up to another group of people and wanted to like get in their cooler and all that and talk to
Oh,
them.
he's real friendly.
He's real friendly. He's real friendly. So
yeah, he gonna have to learn all the stranger danger rules.
Yeah,
he is very friendly. So we'll start with Trayvon, so y'all don't have to decide who's gonna go first. What has been the biggest surprise about fatherhood so far?
The biggest surprise about fatherhood for me was, I grew up in a two-parent household. So I was fortunate. A lot of my friends didn't have their fathers in their lives. My dad was in my life all the way up until he passed away almost almost seven, yeah, almost 8 years ago now. And I felt some type of way, like I always would tell my wife, like, I don't know how I'm gonna be a father, like without my father here to guide me into fatherhood. Um, because he's just so prevalent in my life, and I was just like really scared about being a father and not having, the ability to pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, look, I'm dealing with this, how did you do it, or whatever the case may be. But to my surprise, like every conversation I had with him has led me to where I am today as a father. And my wife always says being a parent is hard. And she always says, it feels like it's easy for you to be a father. And I think for me, that's what surprised me, is how easy it was for me to adapt to being a father. I do have fears as a father, and a black male in this world, and raising a black daughter, and all of the connotations that go along with black women in America. And so I do have those fears as a father, but I think that's what really surprised me, as like once I changed a diaper once, just like
I
clockwork.
got this.
Like, yeah, exactly. Once I got spit on once, like, okay, I can deal with this. It's a little spit up. Like, I think it wasn't as daunting as I thought it was gonna be.
Mm,
Hmm.
mm.
Yeah. Wow. We have some similarities. My father isn't here anymore as well. It's been, some years as well. And I go through the same thoughts about, not being able to talk to my dad about anything, just to, see how he felt, see where he was during this whole thing. And I lean on my mom a lot to, fill in those blanks. Like, hey, how did Dad feel when he was going through this? How did that? So it's just a lot of, going through that as well. Um, what surprises me about being fatherhood, though, for me, I can't speak for everyone's situation, but I feel like I lean or look forward to the affection um, that he gives me. I feel like that a lot of times is the highlight of my day, and I really wasn't expecting that to be like what I end up having to look forward to.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can relate to that 100%. And I think for us, it's like I can't wait to see her, right? And my wife
Mm,
texts me throughout the day, like, "Oh, I can't wait to go home and like be at home and like hold her and like do all these things." What we realized is that like our our whole life and our whole being was around her, right? And it was
mm,
like we were coexisting in this space, and she was getting all the affection and all the attention, and like we had to slow down and also like ensure that we were giving each other the same amount of affection
mm,
to sustain our relationship as new parents. And I think that that wasn't something that we thought about going into parenthood because
right.
our relationship has been so strong. We've been together for 10 years now,
Mm,
or 7 next month. And so it's just been her and I for, for a long time.
mm,
And that addition added another layer. And I know, and I hear the studies, being a parent and having children is like one of the highest attributes to a divorce,
mm,
like right after like
the
finances
first
and
year.
money.
Yep.
Um, and so like catching that early on, I think was also a surprise for us, but also a blessing to us to say, like, we still have to continue to date each other. We still have to continue to be there for one another and have that same amount of excitement to see
Mm,
each other. Cause oftentimes it's like, when I come home or when she comes home, she has the baby, I go right for the baby, right? Kiss the baby, pick up
mm,
the baby, talk, and then 5 minutes later, oh, I didn't greet her, right? And so like just those things are like surprises to me um as a new father as well.
mm.
I
Yeah.
have I have a question. And I like what you just said, Trayvon, because it is so true that new parents have to realize that your life is not supposed to conform around the baby. It's the baby who has to adjust and adapt to the couple because you guys were there first. And
Right.
so that's what your focus needs to be on, the two of you. And you know what? It amazes me how parallel you two, Ian, Trayvon, your lives are. As I'm listening to you guys, Ian works in the education field and he's in the PR part and all of that as well. And I'm sitting here going, wow. And then when you said your dad had passed, I'm like, oh, come on. Like, amazing. This is something how God works to bring you two on this panel together. And you have such great similarities. And as I listen to you guys, I'm hearing all the rose colored glasses. Oh, this is great. And this emotion is great. And oh, this is so wonderful. And I can't wait. And oh, what a blessing. But I want to know in the reality of life, everything isn't always so great. So, my question for both of you is where have you been stretched? Where has it not been so great? New fathers are going to listen to you guys
Mm.
and they can't just hear the
Oh,
good
it's great.
part.
You should do it. It's great. Right. You're right.
Right. So can we get to some of those bones that you try to keep buried when you go out in public? No, it's really great. It's really great. But there's not always a smile on your face. So can you talk a bit about that part of fatherhood?
In you gentlemen's defense, the mothers started out the same way, and then they came to the reality of how things were. Because my next question, actually, before Sissy asked hers, was get honest with it. How much sleep are you really getting? How much patience do you really have?
Mhm.
Because when we do these shows, especially when it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, or when we do any type of our shows, we always keep it real into reality. Yes, there's good
Mhm.
days in everybody's life, but there's also, rough days because Trayvon kind of started with his, well, how hard it is to be away, those moments that, he struggles with being away from his daughter and said the same thing when he struggles, being away from his son. It's a struggle to have to work all day. And this is what many new fathers deal with. They have to work. Moms are only allowed to stay home so much. Dads are only allowed to stay home so much.
But let's
And then
get
it's
it, let's
back
get it
to,
from their perspective
yeah, and then it's back to
because
reality of life. So
what's
that's,
difficult for them, each one may be different in their minds. So
yeah,
that's
that's
what I
life's
wanted to get
reality.
it from their personalized, not a
Yeah,
generalized of
yeah.
things that, yeah, everybody knows that's going to happen.
Mhm.
But when
The
those doors are
struggle, the real
closed, each
stuff,
one of them is going to have something, you know, that they can
different.
impart to
Hmm.
somebody who's listening, and someone's going to need to hear what they have to say. So let's
Yeah.
hear it from them.
Go ahead, Trayvon.
Yeah, I'll start off. Um, yeah, I think one of the challenges is kind of just what I uplifted is like just really like continuing to be there for your spouse. And also sometimes it's hard as a man. You want to fix problems, you want to fix things and get things working. Um, for me as a PR guy, I know what to say and how to say it. And sometimes it's like you don't need to say those things or you just need to like be there. So that's also like a struggle for me is like balancing between when I need to fix something, and when I just need to be a listener. So, for example, it's hard having a newborn. Besides not getting a whole lot of sleep, getting up early in the mornings and breaking your sleep patterns, et cetera, to feed, change diapers. Sometimes it takes them 30 to 45 minutes to put them back to sleep once you do all those things. Besides that, there it's this part of life where once your kid gets, I would say like 5, 6 months older and older, they want to be entertained. And so it's not like the timeout for like, oh, I could just carry them. I could just quickly put them to sleep. They're going to sleep for 3 or 4 hours. Like, no, they're sleeping for 20, 30 minutes at a time. And then they're back up. And when they're up, they want you. Right. And so the hard part of that is there are a whole lot of other things that need your attention, as a father and as a male and as a leader of your house, right? Like the outside of my house was looked horrible for 3 weeks, and when I walked out there I was like, oh my god, I can't believe like my grass hasn't been cut, weeds are all in my rocks, my house just looks bad. I haven't pressure washed my house. It looks really really bad, from the transition of the winter time. I don't have time right now to cut the grass and to pressure wash the house and to do all the things that I normally would do. And so it's hard to balance those things out. And then on the flip side of what I mentioned earlier is like trying to do versus trying to listen and like what to say is my wife is very much a clean freak. Um, and she always talks about how she just doesn't have the time to, and the house looks crazy, and we have people coming over, and we're trying to scramble to get everything done, and then we get our laundry delivered, and it just sits in the bags for a week and a half, and we're just opening the bag and pulling out clothes to get dressed. Um, and I like try to tell her like you got to give yourself grace. Like we're not the
Mhm.
first people who go through this, right? I'm sure other people who've had kids, their house looks a mess for a couple days before you can get to it. But those are the hard parts and the challenges of the reality of the day-to-day life with a infant. Yeah, you have the moments where you want to hug them and they're cute and they're learning all these different things and they're trying foods, but they're splattering food everywhere. And at the end of the day, at the end of the night, like you're so tired, all you could do is give them a bath, change them, put them down, go to sleep. And you get up in the morning, you're like, what the heck is food doing on my walls and on my tables? And it's just not like you to go to bed like that. And those are the struggles and the realities of being a new father.
Honesty. That is honesty.
That's right. And I love that about showing yourself grace, knowing
Yeah.
that you need to
Mhm.
show yourself grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yes, I agree with all of that. I agree with all of that. The sleep deprivation is a very, very real. Waking up twice, three times a night is really, messes up just your sleep pattern and the amount of sleep that you get, which, in turn messes with your mood and your thought process and just your everyday life. Um, one thing that I do like, I understand in theory is that, oh, the baby has to adjust to your lives. I understand that in theory, but in real life, in the trenches right now, it doesn't. That's not how it is. You know, you try to nap when the baby naps, not the baby naps when you nap, or just waking up. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm sleeping right now," so you're just gonna have to stay asleep. No, you got to wake up and change that diaper. You got to wake up and feed them. So it's just like it's not it's easier said and talked about in conversations, and the same thing with being in a relationship. Like we both share the desire to be with each other, to date each other, and just keep that fire alive. However, having a 10-month old or a 6-month old makes it very difficult to do those things, very difficult to do those things. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of, wanting to do things, wanting to be, with your partner, wanting a full night's sleep, but understanding that that is not going to happen right now. um, for me personally, I've been taking on, the role of doing the laundry, cleaning up, doing all that. I just try to do anything I can when I get home from work because I understand, what she's been having to go through from the moment he wakes up to the moment I get home. So I try to, just take over and do what needs to be done. Um, with what that whole laundry list of things, the to do list of things, I try to hold, take hold of that. And for me, I'm going to be vulnerable here. Sometimes it feels like um, it goes uh, unacknowledged, you know. So sometimes I feel like I do things without recognition, and I have a pair of socks that says "Super Dad" on it, and every time I wear them, it helps me understand, like, or it helps me just realize within myself that, like, okay, I'm doing the thing and I'm doing the thing well, without anybody needing to tell me that I'm doing the thing well.
That's true. That's very true. I think for us as fathers, we don't get as much affirmation as mothers do. And grant you, mothers go through a lot and appreciative of everything they do to support not only our kids but our family and us as fathers as well. But I think that that is something that is not unnecessarily there. I think also like even just in general, like if you see like on Father's Day, there might be single moms and, people are celebrating them as fathers. And it's like, I get the spirit of where you're going, but it also at the same time diminishes fathers
Mhm.
during that time. And it's like, I don't see any fathers getting praised, fathers
Mother's Day,
getting
right?
praised on Mother's Day because
Mhm.
they're single fathers. And so I
Mm-mm.
think that there's this construct, this social construct that sees fathers as, and especially Black male fathers, as not as essential to the lives or the constructs of Black households. And
Yes.
that have happened for generations and generations. Um, so I agree 100% with what Ian just mentioned, and being vulnerable there. I think also, like Ian mentioned, like in theory, like yeah, the kids should adapt to the lifestyle of, of the parents. That doesn't like happen for me. Like I'm a pretty healthy person. I used to go to the gym 5 days a week. I can count on two fingers how many times I could go to the gym, um, you know, during the week, and the days that I
Mhm.
do go, the mornings that I do go to the gym, because I try to get there at 5:30
Oh
a.m.
my God.
That's where that's when I go to the gym now. I go to the
We're at
gym
the gym.
My
Yep.
gosh, you guys.
dawn
And coming
because
back,
that's the only time that
that you could get,
that's
yeah,
that's there. They're both sleep, and I still got to go to work, so I'm
yeah,
going to get up early anyway. So I guess I'll get up even earlier.
right, yeah. And
So
then like going to the gym at 5:30 and then trying to get back home at 7 to get the baby to daycare, and all of those things are like a struggle. And then sometimes if I like, oh, you know what, let me get in the massage chairs at the gym before I head out. Like, let me
that's
just,
another
you
20
know, get
minutes.
myself right really quick. I get home at 7:15 and it's like, oh, you weren't here to help me with the baby. Like, oh, I get it. It was like 15 minutes, like I'm sacrificing going to the gym every day to be here with the baby and help and get,
Mhm.
all these things that a lot of times go unnoticed, but a sacrifice that we as fathers make to ensure that we're there for, our families.
Mhm. Mhm.
So would either of you have anything else you want to address?
Like, in what aspect? Is this in fatherhood or is this?
Just to wrap it out, is there any advice you want to give new fathers
Yeah.
other than what you've already expressed? Just to wrap it out for whatever you want to close this out with.
I just watched a YouTube short, and somebody, it was like a Subway take, and somebody's take was parenthood. Raising a family is easier than people make it out to be, and I agree. All you really need to do is, make sure you're communicating with yourself, communicating with your partner, and communicating with your child, being open to communication, being able to, you know, love yourself so you can love others. Um, but the basic thing of keeping him alive, and entertained and happy, once you're in it, it's not as hard as people make it out to be, especially if you are a, you want to be there, especially if you are a partner that wants to be a dad, wants to be a family person. It's easier than what people make it out to be. Yes, there's sleepless nights and blowouts and all that, but once it happens once, you know what to do, or you know how to prevent things. So it's just it's the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say, be present as much as possible. Um, be true to who you are. Check yourself. Make sure you're checking in on yourself,
Hmm.
because if you don't have the oxygen mask on, you can't help anyone else. So, as fathers, take that time. If you have to get up a little bit earlier to meditate, to pray, to go to the gym, to do what you need to do to get your day started, and make sure that you can show up and be fully present for your child and your family, definitely do that. As Ian said, the sleepless nights, they are worth it. One of the things that I never understood from my dad was when my sisters were young adults, and they were still living there, he would stay up until they got home, like no matter what the time was. He wanted to make sure that they got home. And I was talking to someone, a colleague of mine, about Renita because she is like always tired in this constant state of being tired. Um, and they're like, as parents, like fathers, mothers, like that is going to be the rest of your life. Even when they grow up and they move out, you're still going to worry about them. You're still going to
Mhm.
think about them. All of
Mhm.
those things are still going to exist. And so as parents, it's our responsibility to make sure that we're checking in ourselves and to
Yeah.
making sure that we're able to sustain being parents and not leaving for you know not communicating, not being there for your child. It's easier to walk away, in my opinion, than it is to actually put in the work and actually be there. So,
You know, I think it has. Maybe this is a little too much. I think it has to be something wrong with you mentally if you feel like it's easier to walk away from your family than to be there and do the work. Because I can't fathom being anywhere else other than with my family. You know what I'm saying? It's I will find it extremely difficult to step away from you know this. So yeah.
And that is fatherhood, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to piggyback on something real quick that Trayvon just said. And being a mother, my kids are in their um, uh, mid 30s and ooh, pushing the 40 line. My oldest is 37. And it is true, no matter what age your children are, as a mother, I always still worry about my children, especially if I know they're traveling the highways or they're at work or it's like they're grown and I still be like, text me when you get home or, call me, at least say something so I'm not worried. Or if I'm thinking about them, I'll shoot a text, hey, are you at home? And my son works night, so I always just like, hey, you home yet? No, I don't get off till so and so. I'd be like, oh, okay. And I literally find myself up some nights until, like I'm checking in. Are you home yet? Oh yeah, I'm home. Okay. And then I'm out. But that part of parenthood will never go away. And I'm pretty sure sis to say the same thing. No matter how old you gentlemen become, your mothers will always, have those thoughts. And when your kids get older, it does not stop at 18. Actually, your prayers really increase after 18 than they do
I go to
anything.
a higher level, Jack.
Yeah, because you don't see them every day. You don't talk to them every day because now they're living their own lives. So parenthood is until I always tell my kids, I am always going to be worried about where you are, but I'm a more so pray about where you are and what you're doing until the day you throw dirt on me. That's what I always tell my kids. Until the day you throw the dirt on me, I will always be concerned about where you are and what you're doing. I'm not trying to be nosy in your life. I'm just still concerned. So, just so you gentlemen know, and I'm pretty sure you already knew that don't stop when they turn 18. That is a lifetime commitment.
Hmm.
So, we sincerely thank both of you for joining us today in the elaboration room with two sisters of one, openly sharing the joys and the challenges, the highs and the lows of being a new father. We thank you for being honest because someone that may watch this, that's a new dad or nervous about becoming a new dad, can hear your words, and we pray that it encourages them. We thank you for your honesty and your insights. We thank you both for being inspiring and encouraging. And we hope that you've enjoyed being with us as much as we enjoyed having you. So, sis, is there something you want to say before I close us out?
Yes, as you guys started out, you talked about how this little baby comes into your life and you can't stop picking her up or picking him up. those moments do go very fast. So
Mhm.
I pray that you guys, you too, and fathers listening, new fathers, about to be fathers, that you continue to be in the moment, be present in the moment.
Yeah.
The outside of the house, yes, you want to get to it, but don't be worrying about it. Be present in the moment with your spouse, with who your partner, with your little ones. Always be present because those moments go very fast. I can remember when Ian was more interested in playing with boxes. And I tell Melanie says, I needed him to be a baby longer. I needed him to really need me longer, but now he's walking, he wants to do this. And I tell her, you blinked. You blinked and he changed.
Yeah.
So don't blink. Stay present in those moments. And as always, here at the Elaboration Room with Two Sisters of One, we pray and hope we have offered you in this episode something else to consider.
And on this Father's Day, as new fathers, we want you to know that you are much appreciated. And yes, you guys do not get the glory of Mother's Day, but you still are very much appreciated for all that you do. So today on this Father's Day, we celebrate you and all fathers, grandfathers, uncles, cousins, mentors, friends, whoever have stepped in to help shape and influence a child's life. Today on the Elaboration Room, we celebrate you. We thank you for your love that you've given. We thank you for your guidance and your support. Your presence will always have a long-lasting effect and difference that will reach far beyond what you may realize. Everything you plant in a child's today, fathers, will be remembered from years to come. As you heard Trayvon and Ann speak, what their fathers instilled in them is what they're living in reality of today, of being new fathers. So our prayer is that God will continue to strengthen and guide each of you and all of you fathers out there watching this episode on this Father's Day or whenever you watch it. So as always, we want you to be brave, be strong, and be different. Asking, it will be given unto you. Seeking, you shall find. Knock, and the door shall be opened unto you. Believe in yourself and encourage yourself. But in all things, remember, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Peace and blessings, our brothers and sisters. Until next time in the Elaboration Room with Two Sisters of One, be blessed.
Bye bye.
The Elaboration Room with Two Sisters of One. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode every Monday at 6 p.m.